Am I gonna have kids? Am I gonna live to get a degree? You know, am I gonna be around for my next birthday? That's all I could think about the first couple days because you don't really know.
Becoming paralyzed is many people's worst nightmare, but to me, it's my reality. I'm Cruz, and today, I'm bringing you into my world. Let's hope you can get some perspective, and let's have a chat. Hey everyone, welcome back to this week's episode of Paralyze This, the show that aims to change your perspective on just about everything. My name is Cruz Bogle, and I'm your wheelchair-bound quadriplegic host. And today I have an amazing guest with me. Her name is Jordan Mazor, and she has just ended her 2-year battle with fighting breast cancer. Her scans just came back 2 weeks ago that she was cancer-free, and I'm excited to have her here on the show. She's strapped into the chair. How you doing?
Good, yeah.
Yeah, feeling good?
Yeah, not too bad. It's familiar, the strapped down feeling.
All right. Well, that's good, because we'll have you strapped in for probably close to an hour maybe. So hopefully you will freak out. I'd like to see that.
I might cry a little.
That's all right. Kyle will wipe your tears.
Oh, good.
So, first of all, congratulations on getting that news. That must have been unbelievably insane to hear that.
Yeah, it was the whole, my doctor came in and she had this look on her face. And I was like, oh, that's that look. I know that look. Yeah. And she sits down and it's just like a concerned, frustrated look. And I'm like, how are the test results? And she goes, oh, fine.
Oh,
and then
man.
she had like something totally different about her nurse. And I'm like, okay, that you could have, came in and said that right away.
Right. So about the day that you got diagnosed, can you kind of tell me about that day? Like, what were you feeling and how, like, emotional was that?
Absolutely. Yeah. The whole time, up until that doctor's appointment, it was, like, unthinkable to even think it was cancer. I assumed it was dense breast. We went through, first we did a mammogram, and that came back inconclusive, so they did an ultrasound, and that came back concerning, and then they did they took a piece of the tissue out to test it, or the tumor to test it, and then that was the results that we were getting that day. So the doctor came in and sat us down and basically just said, you have breast cancer. It's stage 3 invasive ductal carcinoma. And this is probably the most difficult question I get asked, because there's so many emotions that go on when you're sat down and told you have cancer.
Right.
In my case, it was breast cancer, and it was just total shock. That's what shock feels like. You just don't even know, and then you don't know if you have a future on top of it.
Right. So who went with you? Was it your parents, your mother?
My husband. I was married right before I got diagnosed. Okay. So my husband came with me, and he was scheduled to go into work right after. That's how unconcerned we were about the results. And he was crying. We were sobbing. The doctor was, I'm sure it's very hard for him as well.
Right, to drop that news on somebody.
Exactly, on daily, probably.
So did he tell you, like, what your future could be? Did he say, like, potentially you could only have X amount of time to live, or was it that type of situation?
Not right away. Not right away. He said, but everything did happen fast. Yeah. It's little information one at a time. So right then he's like, you need to come back and we need to decide when your surgery is. So that's what he said. He didn't say, you're gonna die.
So how did that make you feel? Besides, like you said, you were emotional and sobbing with your husband, but like for the rest of the day or the next however long until your surgery, like what's going through your head? What are you thinking about? It's all right.
Am I gonna have kids? am I gonna live to get a degree? You know, am I gonna be around for my next birthday? That's all I could think about the first couple days, because you don't really know right away. But yeah, it was hard.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. How long did it take to get the surgery? Was it like a week or?
It felt like forever,
Yeah.
but it was a month. And you know, before then, it's just chaos. It's chaos. I'm up and down. You know, I had mental illness, and my depression just, you know, was just so intense. And you know, I finally, you know, one day I'm like, okay, let's do this. Let's get rid of these boobs and get rid of this cancer. And so I had I had the surgery a month later. Due to the stage and grading, we decided to do a double mastectomy. So they took everything out.
Really?
Yeah, all the tissue. And there's a difference between a breast augmentation, a boob job, and a mastectomy. Total difference.
What's the difference?
So they're going to take, with a mastectomy, they actually take all the tissue out too. They don't necessarily do that with a boob augmentation. So it's cool, I had to have tissue donated to me.
Really?
So there are 2 people's tissue that I've never met who have passed away living inside me right now.
Wow.
And the hospital will actually give you the option to write to the families of the donor.
Yeah. Did you do it?
I did.
Have you?
I got
gone
a
back and
response
forth?
from one of the donors' families, and we're friends on Facebook.
Wow.
Yeah, so they got to see their brother live through me.
Through your chest.
He got to live with my boobs.
I'm sure he's loving it right now. Man,
Hope
that
so.
is insane. So are you like feeling like sick at this time, or like
That's a good question. Yeah, I still continue care. I take, they're called hormone receptive medication, but they're chemo pills. So yeah, they do have side effects, and you know, I don't know, they're not as bad as chemo. No, I get to keep my hair with them. They just basically turn off my estrogen.
All right.
Which can cause hot flashes.
And dry mouth?
Dry mouth, oh yeah, yeah.
All right, so I'm not 100% familiar with the whole chemo and radiation like process, and honestly exactly what it is. Can you kind of tell me about like what is chemo and radiation and just the process of it?
Yeah, chemo, there's a different types of chemo. I don't think a lot of people know that. There's not just one single one, depending on what kind you have. And for my chemo, my first 4 infusions, well, first of all, I'll say with chemo, you can either choose to have it through your vein in your arms, or you could do it through a port where they install and like a very large vein.
Right. They
have to do it through surgery. So I would have chemo through my port, and they would stick a needle right through my chest, and that's where the drugs would go in. And that could last from 3 hours to 5 hours.
Each session?
Yeah.
Alright.
I had a Game Boy.
Yeah. Throwback, I'm sure that was fun.
Yeah.
So how often do you get these?
Oh, yeah. So chemo, with chemo, the first 4 were they hit you hard. That's where you lose your hair. You literally, like, you can't walk, you can't talk to people. I mean, people wore me out. I'm like, just stop talking. And like, you're just smiling, like trying to go with it, act like you're functional, and you're not.
Right. So it just like takes your energy.
Yeah.
And do you feel sick during all that as well, or?
Yeah, the sickness is weird. It's like your body's a hungover times 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the first 4, they're probably your hardest. They want to get the hardest ones out of the way, lose your hair, all that. And then I had 16 more after that.
16.
16 more, yeah. So from January 2018 to June 2018, I was just strict chemo every 2 weeks. And in between that, you're getting blood work to check your white blood cells to make sure you're even able to get chemo because you might be too sick.
Right. Like if your body's accepting it?
Yeah. Yeah, you it's like your body's too heavy for your legs.
Really?
You know, it's like you just can't hold yourself up.
So you're just laid up at home? Like
Oh,
you're
yeah.
just
Oh, yeah, binge watch.
the lazy lifestyle?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, couched it for a long time.
So where's your mental state at that point? I know you said that your depression like was overwhelming.
Yeah.
Is that like through this whole process, or did you get to manage it early on, or?
Yeah. So it was 13 when they realized that there was that I had depression, and it's really triggered by stressful events.
Yeah.
But it's weird. I went through this when you get diagnosed, I just went through this rock bottom, but from there it's like you have nowhere to go but up.
Right.
So actually, while going through chemo, I was more grateful and happy than ever.
Really?
You lose everything so quickly, and so you're left with gratitude with what you do have.
Right. I asked Ashley Bergman, a mutual friend of ours,
Love Ashley.
some questions that I should ask you, and one of them was, how did you stay so positive? She said that like it was unbelievable how you were always smiling and positive, and when she was around you, like even after hearing the news, you were just like this bubbly, positive person. So how did you maintain that? Like how did you, going through all this feeling like, you know, shit, and being laid up at home and having to deal with your depression and everything that's going on, like how do you stay positive?
I was inspired by someone. I was inspired by a post. It was a young girl who had breast cancer as well, and I realized, and I saw strength in her, and I realized that could be in me too. And then I found a support group as well with other girls my age going through breast cancer, and that turned everything around.
Really?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things I had that helped me with my positivity, was being around other women and just taking our wigs off and being like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we just want to be us, and
Right.
I was able to grow with them.
That's awesome. That's awesome that you had that.
Yeah, I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
Very lucky, yeah.
Like, yeah, kind of like we were talking about before. I said, you know, so many people have it so much worse. Whether it was somebody in your same situation who didn't have that support, or, you know, that pick-me-up that seems like changed your life.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah.
Kind of backtrack a little bit. After you heard the news of having cancer, how do you think your perspective, if it did your perspective like immediately change on life?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, immediately it went just total despair.
Yeah.
I didn't, it's like life before cancer, Jordan before cancer, and Jordan after cancer.
Yeah.
I don't even know the person before it. It's a stranger, sadly. But then after that despair is over and you're kind of just left with this bald person, it just, little things don't matter anymore. It changes your perspective on time. It changes your perspective on what's important. And it's a whole shift in perspective.
Yeah. It's an amazing thing, right?
Yeah.
That's the point of the show, is to just try to change perspectives.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, for a lot of people, it takes something, you know, as having an accident, breaking your neck, or, you know, diagnosed with cancer and having to go through all this chemo. It's something extreme that makes you change your perspective. So that's what I'm trying to implement with this, is like, before something like this happens, shift your perspective.
Yeah.
Change your life. And it really could do that. It could change your life. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I hope I can inspire and help
I
someone.
100% guarantee you will.
Yeah.
Again, thank you so much for coming on. Like, you have an amazing story. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
And yeah, I hope you continue to get more good news. You said you have another MRI coming up.
Yeah.
So hopefully you get good news there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing stuff.
Thank you.
You haven't said you have dry mouth yet, but I'm gonna have Kyle give you a sip
Thank
of yours,
you.
right? Just in case.
Please, yeah.
Yeah.
You look busy over there, so. Thank you so much.
Oh, brother.
You have to learn to be comfortable asking for help.
Yeah, you really do. All right, so on that note as well, we're going to give you the Rubik's Cube Challenge.
Do it!
So Kyle's actually been working on this Rubik's Cube for a couple days trying to figure it out. I'm sorry, bud, but you're gonna have to mess it up a little bit. So yeah, I'm gonna give you a little, a soft 1 minute timer, and you just try to solve one side of that as best you can with just using your words to guide Kyle.
Let's turn the middle, the middle,
It's tough, it's tough.
Wait, let's turn the white, blue, yellow to the middle, white, blue, yellow one. That one, yeah. Up.
Other side, other side.
Can I get a stick, like, in my mouth? That one. Can I use my thumb?
All right, so those blues, that's the size you want right there, right?
Yeah, okay, yeah,
All right.
yeah, that one. That.
Spin it upwards.
Nope, okay, so put your thumb and go north.
Okay.
Wait, your right thumb and go north, yeah.
This one?
Yeah, keep going. Oh, the other side.
Spin it? Or?
Other side. Put your thumb on the other side. Up side. Oh my god.
This side?
It's so hard.
Then move. I'm not even good at Rubik's Cubes in general. I couldn't do this on my own.
And then the bottom one, I don't know. I can just.
All right, we got
How long
the
do I
point
have?
across. We got the point across.
Kyle, can you do that?
Yeah.
It takes him a while. He got one side pretty quick,
That
but
is
that's
so
it.
hard. I'm sorry. I did not miss
All good? All good?
It is, wow. Yeah. You're awesome.
So again, just the point of that is to everything that I need to do, whether it's talking to Kyle or my family or doctors or whatever it may be, it's all vocal. I gotta describe what to do. I have to instruct them all with my voice. So just to give you that sense of like what it may be like for somebody who's physically disabled, you know,
Yeah.
every little thing can be taken for granted, and it's
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And I'm not that great with communication skills.
No?
I'm frustrated. Oh, no.
Well, maybe work on it a little bit.
Yeah. No. Absolutely.
All right, so next question would be, do you have a history of cancer or breast cancer in your family?
Another great question. Yes, on my paternal side, and I that was not known to me when I got diagnosed.
All right.
So on I don't know my biological father's side well at all in their history, and I grew up with no cancer around me. So when I got cancer, I told the doctors right away I don't have it. I didn't, and they have a test out, the BRCA1 and 2. I test, which will say if you have a genetic predisposition to breast cancer.
Okay.
I didn't test positive for either of those. So then I naturally assume it's something I'm doing.
Right.
So I was very hard on myself for a really long time. But that's not the case at all. Even if you don't have BRCA1, 2, it's not necessarily the environmental issues. You know, there's a lot of things we don't know about genes and why they mutate and what happened. And and if you can go crazy thinking about how you caused it or how it's caused, but really you got to focus on how to cure it.
Right. Yeah, focus on the positive as opposed to the negative.
Yeah, and that's how doctors are amazing.
Yeah.
Doctors are amazing. They're the reason I'm alive today. It's not anything like I did or, you know, some heroic thing. The doctors and science researchers, they're why I'm still here.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
Thank God there's people like them out there, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
How did like your family and friends respond to the news?
I think it changed everyone that knows me really well.
Yeah.
I think it really, I made a lot of them cry.
Yeah.
You know, it really made them think about time and what that means and what it means to have be around the people you love. I really saw a shift in everyone that's close to me.
Did you lose anybody? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's inevitable.
Yeah.
I lost a few people as well.
Yeah.
But it strengthens the people who stick around.
Yeah. You kind of weed out the people, and you have strong people in your life.
Yeah. And that's what you need through a time like that.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever think something like this could happen to you? Did you ever even for a second think like, oh, down the line maybe I'll
No.
get cancer?
No.
No.
No. I never once popped into my head. You know, I was naive.
Yeah.
Before cancer, very naive. You know, I thought you do good things happen.
Right. Life's fair.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like,
Unfortunately, it's not.
no.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
I had kind of a similar. I was 19 when I had my accident, so I was still a boy,
Yeah.
and I had never thought about disabilities in general. I didn't really know anyone with a disability, and you don't really until you get like thrust into it, or somebody you love has to deal with it. Like you have no idea. And I would guess it's kind of similar with cancer. Like you said, you didn't really have anybody with cancer around you. You never thought about it. So, like, why would I think about it? I don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, and it's such a sad thought, and now that's like all I think about.
Right. Like, just the understanding of people in general, whether they have a disability or not, or have cancer or not. Like, if you just think about things that you don't have to deal with, it's just like so eye-opening and kind of makes you understand, I think, what life is about more. Like helping people and the people around you, not just yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy stuff.
Oh my gosh. Being positive is the only way to make it through something like this.
Yeah.
Sane.
Yeah. You're 100% correct.
Yeah.
I try to have a short memory when it comes to like the negativity, whether it's just having a bad day now or, thinking about why me or whatever, being the victim. Like, I think about it for very briefly and then I just let it go.
Yeah.
And I just don't think about the negativity anymore. And that allows me to stay positive. And definitely the people around me, like the support system and people just bringing you up instead of down is like huge.
Yeah. Yeah, positivity I just like seeing people happy.
Yeah.
And I sometimes like being like healthy made them happy and being positive, and I saw that and it gave me something to be happy about too. So, if I can bring something good out of all this, I did my job.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, I think you're doing great.
Yeah, thank you.
Did you ever want to, at any point, give up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a few really, really bad days.
Really?
Really bad. Yeah, I remember I woke up and I just broke out in this head to toe rash and no hair, no eyebrows. I can't even fake makeup at this point. Like, my eyebrows are I'm not good at drawing eyebrows. And, I remember I just couldn't even hide how sick I was.
Right.
And I wanted to give up. I went to the doctor. I'm like, I can't do this.
But you didn't.
Yeah. You get to a point where when you're going through chemo that you can't hide. Like, for a little bit, you can wear a wig. You can fill in your eyebrows. But, then you just, once you lose everything and it's too hot to wear a wig and you just can't hide it. You just give up.
Right.
And I was tired. I was tired of waking up and having to look at myself.
Right.
But I found strength in the people that had gone through it before me, people going through it now and after me, support groups, other people that are going through it. Why am I, like, they went through it and they're okay, like, why am I any,
Right.
different? Like,
They can do it, you can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you fucking did it.
I did it.
So sick.
Still doing it.
Still doing it, yeah.
Yeah, and that's something else, a lot of people don't realize that this is chronic. This is not like it, I didn't just get chemo and radiation and now I'm back to normal.
Right.
Not even close. I look normal, but you know, I wake up and I have pain. I have pain from the chemo pills. You know, it breaks down your muscle mass. So I don't go to the gym anymore. I can't run anymore. I get sore so easily. During chemo, I would get these just spurts of where am I? What is going on?
Really?
Like total amnesia. And I still get that a little bit here and there.
And that's from the chemo?
It like fried my brain, yeah.
Wow.
And then the medication on top of it. I still see my oncologist every month. I still get blood work every month. And I take chemo pills every day.
So it's just a constant process.
Yeah, and I get, I don't know if you can see it now, I'm getting a hot flash, but I'm in induced menopause. So my cancer, they can differentiate cancers by, and give certain medications by if you're hormone positive, and my cancer is hormone positive, it's estrogen positive. So my cancer is getting fed by menstrual cycles. So what they did was I get a shot every month and it stops that. It puts me in an induced menopause. So basically I can't have children right now. They can't promise I'll ever be able to have children. And yeah, I just get hot flashes every hour and they go away after a couple minutes.
So is that like normal to you at this point now, or are you still?
No, it sucks. It's kind of annoying. Like I'll be in the middle of class or a presentation or speaking, you know, and then all of a sudden I just get hot flash and just gotta act like you're okay.
Just gotta deal with it.
Yeah, go right through it, you know, walk right through it.
Man.
Yeah.
How long does that last?
Like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I counted. I'm like, all right, let's put the timer on 2 minutes.
So every time it hits, you know it's gonna be like 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just like a flush. It like, you know, and sometimes it happens because of stress. You know, it really shows how stressed I get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're stressed right now?
A little stressed.
So you mentioned something about speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you do to speak to other young women in a similar situation as you?
Yeah. One day I was at the hospital and a lady from the American Cancer Society, I met her and she's like, hey, would you want to speak to the medical staff at Boca Regional about getting through chemo? And I'm like, sure. Because while I was binge watching TV, Desperate Housewives, this lady goes, she goes, you know, I turned into a yes person. When someone asks me something, I always say yes. And I was like, yeah, I like being a yes person.
Yeah.
So when that lady asked me, first thing I thought is yes. And so I'm like, yeah, like I didn't even think about it.
Right.
Terrified. I'm like, it's not like I like doing it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just realized I had a knack for it. And then from there I made connections and another lady said, hey, do you think you can speak for me for this event? And then I started doing speaking events for fundraisers and October for all the different walks, FAU, American Cancer Society walk.
Right.
Thousands of people showed up. I mean, it's just incredible. That's it. Being on stage and just having everyone not getting their opinions and being able to tell my story is
Right.
just so comfortable and just so natural.
Really?
I love it. I just, let me talk, tell my stuff, not feel insecure or vulnerable about what I'm saying. Just shut everything off and hope that it inspires someone.
Yeah.
Help someone.
I'm sure it does. All right, so one of the last questions would be the whole experience from start to finish, from thinking back to your life before you even thought about cancer to now going through the fight, beating it, like you said, it's never completely over, but getting through hopefully the worst of it so far. What has it all taught you? Like, how has your perspective changed knowing everything that you know now? How is your mentality? What's your outlook now?
I don't complain.
Okay.
I don't complain. I don't like it. I don't like. It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have choices. You can look at the good or bad, and sometimes it's not easy to look at the good, but you're a better person because of it.
Right.
To yourself, to the people around you, and ultimately, that's what matters, is the people around you and how you're contributing to their life.
Yeah.
That's one huge thing, you know. I stopped thinking so much about me, superficial things, little things, and how this time can be used to make the world better.
Yeah.
Before it's like, you know, dumb things like
Right. It's
my
more
hair.
Right.
What should I do with my hair? Like
It's more about you before, and now it's about others.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the outlook that I've gotten.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, kind of back to your speaking.
Yeah.
Would you give advice to this camera back here, to somebody who's watching who may have just been diagnosed with cancer or may be diagnosed in the future? What's your advice to them?
It's okay to be scared, and there's no right way to deal with it. You're gonna need a lot of information thrown your way. Take it one at a time. Have an advocate. I was lucky I had my husband. But don't Google anything. I Googled double mastectomy surgery the night before.
Mm-hmm. Bad decision?
Bad. There's no right way to handle it. Be comfortable with asking for help, because you're gonna need a lot of help. After surgery, you can't open anything. Like, you're basically you can't drive, you can't open anything. You have to have someone with you. You have to have an aide. You have to have someone cook your foods. You have to have someone with you to help you give you medications.
You're just super dependent at that point.
The whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a hard question. There's so much. There's so much I want to say
I'm sure.
about it. But like, the way I handled things was not the way other people handled things. Like other girls, you know, I didn't listen to a lot of stuff.
Really?
I didn't follow a lot of doctors. I wanted to be, I didn't want to know a lot of things. I kind of wanted to be in the dark about stuff, because when I heard stuff, I would just get really intense. You know, I'd look into it a little too much.
Yeah.
So I like to just know the really important things, the basic. I didn't want to know all the little side effects that could happen. If they happen, I'll let you know, but don't tell me. Because if you tell me the side effects, I'll probably create them in my head.
Be looking for them.
It's weird. It's weird how I would do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't look for side effects, you know. If you get them, you get them, but everyone's going to be a little different.
Right, deal with it as it comes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think that's good. I think that's good stuff. And like I said, the point of this show is to change perspectives. Hopefully, I know people reach out to me quite often and say, you know, how I've inspired them, or to whether it's to change their life or just a different outlook or perspective. And I know after people watch this and hear your story that they will do the same. And I guarantee that you will change somebody's life through this, which is unbelievably amazing.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for coming on the show. It was truly great to meet you.
Thank you for having me.
And hopefully, you know, we can chat and have some sort of relationship now, because I'd love to keep up with you and everything that you have going on.
Absolutely, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. I hope that being strapped in wasn't too nerve-wracking for you.
Not too bad.
You needed a couple of moments there, but that's all right.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, I will put some of Jordan's information for links where you can follow her if you'd like in the description below. And thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you guys next week on Paralyze This.